Of all the things you can do to build a successful startup, the one thing that you can do that might surprise you the most, and is going to be the most determinant of your success, is building a great company culture. It's not going to be the product. It's not going to be the market. It's going to be culture that determines your success. And that's what we're going to talk about today, is how do you go about building a great company culture? What do you do? What are the steps? So let's get started. So as I said, culture is the most indicative thing of your success, of anything that you do. There was a study done by Stanford University on this exact subject, and I think there were around 100 something startups in their study. All of the startups that had a collaborative culture, a culture where nobody wanted to leave the company, where nobody wanted to leave the startup, none of your team wanted to leave. That was the culture that succeeded. It's better than a star culture. It's better than a dictatorship culture. This is the culture that you want. It succeeds significantly more than anything else. So go for that collaborative culture. This is what we're going to talk about. Now we're going to talk about how do you get there? How do you build this collaborative culture? What are the steps? Well, the first step is, even before you hire anybody, maybe even before you even decide who your co-founders are going to be, you should really be thinking about your culture. What do you want it to be like? How do you want the team to be built? What do you want the characteristics of the people that you work with to be? All of these things are going to be really important to you, because when you're in the fight and you're starting to build a team, all this stuff can go out the window. Suddenly, because team is going to be the first thing that's going to determine your culture more than anything else, you can say, well, I'm going to hire this person and it'll be okay. We'll be able to manage this person. We know he's a bad guy, but you know what? He's so great, we'll be able to manage him. And that's the first indication that you're on the wrong track. So the idea here is, let's get it right from the beginning. Even before you hire anybody, think about the characteristics of the people that you want to bring onto your team. What are they like? What don't you want your team to have? What are their strengths going to be? What are their weaknesses going to be? How are they going to collaborate with each other? That should be a constant topic between you and your co-founders every step of the way as you're building your company, every single step. So as I said, you should be thinking about this first. And then as you're thinking about your co-founders, well, that's the first piece, right? Do your co-founders exhibit the traits that you want to build the company that you want? Because if they don't, well, then they shouldn't be co-founders, should they? So this is kind of step number one in our process here, is really be thinking from day one, what is the culture of my company going to be like? So why is this so important? Why does this come first? Because in the way I look at startups, team is everything. If you have a great team, you can accomplish great things, even if your team is pointed in the wrong direction. If you have a great team and you have the right culture to go along with that great team, in other words, a culture where people feel like their opinions are valued, a culture where if they say, you know what, we're not going in the right direction, let's think about this, let's talk about what we should do, maybe we should make an adjustment, a quote-unquote pivot, that you're going to listen because you've built the team properly. And the team knows that they're valued. And if you truly value them, because where does culture start? It starts with you. If you don't exhibit these traits, then nobody else will. So let's say you do exhibit them, your team believes in them, then eventually you're going to get pointed in the right direction. That's what a great culture allows you to do. If you have a bad culture, you're going to keep going down the wrong path. I've seen this in my career. I haven't seen this in an early stage startup that had a bad culture, because I haven't been involved in an early stage startup that had a bad culture. However, I've seen it in mid-stage startups that had bad cultures. I joined one that had a really bad culture. Nobody wanted to speak up, and the company imploded, essentially, and it had to rebuild itself. They had enough money to do it, but it was really hard. And guess what? The company didn't succeed anyways at the end of the day, because the quality of the people wasn't that good. So get this right. Think about this from the beginning. What do you want your team to be? And then start with yourself. because you, every single day, every single week, every single hour, every single minute, you have to exhibit the culture of the company. You can't turn on and you can't turn off culture. Culture is ever present every day, every second, every minute, just like I said. And if you're not exhibiting the proper culture at all times, your team isn't going to take it seriously, and they're going to know that you're not serious about it either. So you really have to believe in these things for culture to work for your company. So this is the thing. Think hard about this. Think hard about what you want the culture to be and you want your team to be. This is going to be critical for you as you build the company, because if you don't believe in these things, it isn't going to work. So you really have to be a true believer in what you want the culture to be, because everything is going to come from you. So it starts with you, then it goes to your team, then it goes to your co-founders, then to your team that you hire, and then to all the employees after that. So walk the walk and talk the talk. So what is culture about? It's behavior. It's the behavior and the expectations that you have and your team has for everybody else. And everybody else that follows, they're going to live and breathe the culture, especially if it's strong. I've seen this in successful companies. If the culture's strong, everybody believes in it. It's like a pact between you and the rest of your team. You have a strong culture. People aren't going to violate the terms of that culture because they're going to feel like they're part of something big. So this is what we want. We want to have a really strong culture. As I said, it starts with you, then it's going to go to everybody else on your team. So it's the behaviors that you want. And think about those behaviors. What should they be? It goes back to what's the team we want to build. So from my perspective, it starts with integrity. If people don't have integrity, they can't be part of a strong company culture. It's that simple. They should be smart in their respective disciplines. However, they should also be open to other people's opinions. This is also part of a strong company culture. They should be strong-willed, and they should fight and debate. This doesn't mean, by the way, if you're having a strong company culture, it doesn't mean you're not going to have fights. It doesn't mean you're not going to have healthy debates. It does mean that people are going to respect each other as they debate and fight for what they think is right. That's what you want. You want smart people, and smart people are opinionated. That's okay, but also smart people are open, and smart people respect other smart people. That's what we want in our culture. So we want smart people. We want people with integrity. We want people who are going to fight for what they believe. And we want people that are passionate about our company's mission, that are true believers in the company, that believe in what we're doing is right and just. And they believe in the product, the service that we're developing. And they love it. This is what's going to attract other smart people to your company. When you see an environment like that, and I've been in environments like that, it is a joy to come to work because you know you're working with the best of the best. And that's when you know you're going to achieve great things. Let's close with one more thought because it's so important. Your team determines the culture, but you determine who you hire and who you fire. This is also part of building a great culture because everything revolves around team. You can have anything you want spelled out on paper, but the team, every person that you hire, this is the way to think about it. Every person that you hire is going to either improve the culture or detract from the culture. So think about that when you're making your hiring decisions. Is this person going to help the culture, make the culture better of the company, or is this person going to hurt the culture? And every single time you're thinking to yourself, I have this brilliant engineer I'm going to hire, and I think they're going to be great in the company, but I'm concerned that they're going to hurt the culture. You should have warning lights flying above your head saying, you know what? I shouldn't hire this person because you're going to live to regret it. That is a guarantee. 100% of the time, I've hired the brilliant jerk because that's what we're describing as a brilliant jerk, because brilliant jerks don't help your company culture. That's the indicator you shouldn't hire them. Because no matter how brilliant they are, and the reality is they're usually not that brilliant, no matter how brilliant they are, don't make the mistake of hiring the brilliant jerk who's going to screw up your company culture. I'm Brett at brettjfox.com. Have a great, great day.